Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you, CITRA, for organizing with the other partners this wonderful event. Thank you for the audience after a heavy lunch, maybe, surviving the lunch. I'm very happy to have a group of esteemed panelists. I'm moderating this panel. I bring my experience as an educator in a university setting, where I have one of my specializations is cybersecurity. I would like to talk about, moderate the discussions on cybersecurity in school education. We know cybersecurity is about protection and securing digital assets and data. It is really, after all, we do this to secure and protect human beings. Children is classified as vulnerable human being, vulnerable part of the society. Whatever it is, under 18, under 16, depending on the country and legislations. But these are vulnerable members of the society. We provide them with high-tech tools, technology tools, and we have the social responsibility to protect them. It used to be physical safety. You know, you care about the child crossing the street or getting into a car or doing things physically. Now we are talking about online safety. What are we doing to really take care of this aspect of well-being of this very important part of the population, vulnerable population, that is children. Schools have a very important role to play in this. It is not only to provide awareness, but we know we are talking about in Kuwait, I think is about 35% of the population is under 18. And we really, this is a big tank from which we can draw the future cyber analyst, the future cyber engineer, this future planners for cybersecurity. So not only we want to make the children aware, but we also want to draw the best of them to be engaged into furthering their education, higher education, and we are happy to receive them in all the universities in Kuwait to really fill the gap in the sector that is very promising, as you mentioned, promising in terms of posture and in terms of salary. You mentioned the salary. But also as a contributor to the safety of others. You know, it's like you are the digital army for the country, the online army. So I want to start from here. We know we have covered wonderful talks about this by Dr. Lubna, by Dr. Sarah, and Dr. Virginia, and we were very happy to listen to those talks, very insightful, and gave lots of ideas. Dr. Lubna, from the perspective of a catalyst in Kuwait, would like to hear from you about the future plan, action plan, as a result of this gathering. I'm sure you have already ideas, and you have new ideas now. You would like to consolidate them. I'd like to hear from the panel a couple of minutes, and then we'll also go to the audience. This is a very important topic because we are all parents, we all have children, and we really want to protect them and protect their well-being. Dr. Lubna?
I'll change there. I was told this is your microphone, this is mine. Thank you so much, Dr. Saad. It's such a wonderful opportunity to be part of this because it is such a concern worldwide, and I appreciate my colleagues in presenting what they did for 2 days. And I really appreciate what Dr. Sarah and Dr. Virginia presented today, because that will make my job easier. KFS being a foundation that aims to work as you said, as a catalyst to bring technology, to bring awareness to the community, to Kuwait. So one of our major things going forward is to put a plan that it's going to incorporate what to include for the education, different levels of education, elementary, middle, and high school. And actually, I prefer actually to start from kindergarten, because this day and age, the kids like 2.5, he holds the iPad or the mobile and he operates it as if he knows everything about it, and he doesn't talk yet. So they are so technology aware and so ready for it that we cannot wait. So we'll make a plan. We'll incorporate what was presented today, and we'll definitely seek the help of Dr. Virginia and Dr. Sarah. And we'll present that to the Ministry of Education and the private schools that are in Kuwait, and encourage them to actually incorporate it. One of the things that is very typical in our country here is that we wait for others to do it, and then we actually kind of copy it. You know, if the neighbors have the new TV, let them try it first. And then if it's really good, then we'll buy it. So we hope that we'll have somebody that will actually take the lead, and then everybody will be anxious to follow. The other thing is the awareness campaign. We're going to drive for a major awareness campaign on the risks of it, the dangers of it, how to avoid it, how to actually start from home. Like I said, it's very important that we start from home. A lot of the parents are not aware how to actually put locks on their apps, that you cannot, to stop the apps from downloading their information. A lot of them don't even have this deny button checked. So we're hoping that we actually do a campaign and make it a high visible issue, that people will be aware of it and try to implement it at home, at school, and in the society. Thank you.
Let me switch to our online participant panelist. Dr. Anoud, I know from your experience in awareness building for government employees, what can you tell us about mapping your experience or bringing it to awareness for parents? We mentioned parents. We also have teachers that are going to supervise the student learning, school administrators. They are all at that level, and we need also this awareness at this level, so that it will be more effective when we deal with the children under this. Your thought on this?
I hope you can hear me well.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for inviting me today to speak to your audience, and thank you very much, Dr. Lubna. We are all working together to enhance our capacities towards having a common understanding on what cybersecurity means in Kuwait. As the NATO regional center in Kuwait, we have been trying to promote cybersecurity awareness within governmental employees since 2017. Working with NATO in the domain of cyber defense and cybersecurity, and 3 on 4 different courses. So what does this mean to parents or school administration? It means that it would be very interesting for us to speak to children about different fields of education, artificial intelligence. And by the time these children finish school, there will be more or new technologies coming in the government or in the market. So it would be advisable to incorporate upcoming technologies into our curriculum. So when these students graduate, they will find the market, job market, since it's an issue in Kuwait and other countries, is to have the job market. Cybersecurity or technology is high demand today, in high demand, and we would recommend that schools and high schools raise awareness in new technologies. This will facilitate then our training programs in the future for employees in the government sector. We've been trying to bring together our fellow colleagues in CITRA and other government entities, also in the GCC level, to have a common understanding of what cybersecurity means to the region and to have a common standards with the NATO. So this is what we're trying to do at the center in very short, and we hope that this can provide a kind of promotion, or it kind of motivates schools and universities to pay more attention into this field. And then they will probably find better jobs and have a better quality and enhancing our capacity buildings in the nation level in Kuwait. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alanoud. Dr. Virginia, any thoughts about the Kuwait context? How does it relate with the international level? If you have any thought about it, or any suggestion, recommendations?
Right. Thank you. So I'm not. I don't have the knowledge of how cybersecurity is embedded in Kuwait curriculum. So I would not like to comment on that. But skills building is hugely important, as we have seen in the other countries that we looked at. And the role of parents and guardians and the schools is key in that respect as well. So it's not only about building capacity in school, so empowering teachers in terms of training, and so they can actually be able to convey, to teach students on this respect, the cybersecurity respect, but also the environment around the children in terms of helping parents to gain skills as well as the children to be able to support them, right? And I think that what we have seen in the project that we run with GCFE, GFCE, is that it's difficult for parents, right? So usually children know more about technology than parents do. So we need to actually help. So governments, NGOs, and local schools have to help parents to gain skills as well, to support the children. And this might come in different ways, I think. So kind of events promoted by schools, for example, for parents, but also material in terms of engaging parents with students for thinking about cybersecurity. So, for example, we have seen kind of, for example, games being launched in terms of parents and children playing it, guiding the concepts of cybersecurity as well. So helping them to actually support the children, but it needs to be with knowledge, right? So not to convey the wrong message to the children, and all the things that are important as well in terms of getting that are activity sheets or online resources, etc. But there are so many online resources as well that it's complicated for parents to actually know what is to trust and what is not to trust, to kind of select the best one. So again, there is a role to be played by governments and NGOs around this as well, to help accessibility of trustworthy material and material that actually helps and not be more confusing and add to the complexity of the job. So yeah, I think that this is what we have seen.
Thank you, Dr. Virginia. Dr. Sarah, your input into this?
Thank you. I think I fully agree with what Dr. Virginia was saying and the rest of the panel. One of the key concerns for me is we were talking about the breadth of material out there, but actually getting teachers and parents to engage with it. And we've certainly found that we call them war stories, but, you know, stories from actual criminal cases or actual civil cases that really bring home why this is important, rather than just this theoretical, it might happen to you. We found that certainly very good for creating an engagement culture and opening those conversations. And also victim empowerment, so showing students what might be there that might help if they have made a mistake. And, you know, students at that age, they're learning, so mistakes are going to happen, or, you know, they might not be as security conscious as an adult or someone more experienced. Showing them that there is material there, how to access help, what help is available, what happens, so that they have that empowerment to come forward. That, you know, that's really helpful as well.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Lubna, we know, you know, everything is bound and budget is bound. How would you set up, you know, people like to see tangible things, and cybersecurity is risk, and risk may not happen, and that is a problem. Is people don't see the value of it until they fall into it. How would you set up a nice budget from KFAS to really support activities? You know, we know KFAS has tons of money, right?
Oh dear God, here we go.
And how do you sell this to your organization?
Well, as I said, KFAS, for some of you don't know that we are not funded by the government, we are funded by the private sector. And the companies, registered companies, pay 1% of their net profit to the foundation. Now, it is not mandatory, but it is actually part of a decree, an Amiri decree. Now, what we can actually do, we don't have an open checkbook actually, unfortunately, because a lot of the funding right now comes from our investment of the portfolio that we have. So 1/3 only comes now from the private sector, because a lot of companies also suffered a lot with the corona. What we have as a privilege is that we actually have a lot of partners from the stakeholders that are eager to do corporate social responsibility. So if we initiated the thing and we raised the flag about it, we actually can get a lot of funds from the companies that would be willing to participate in this especially if it's a campaign, if it's training for the kids, or even or the teachers, the workshop for the teachers. So alone, we're not going to be able to do it, but we are a generous community. Kuwait is a very generous community. We actually give to the outsiders. So we are actually generous with one another here in Kuwait. So I don't think it's going to be a problem getting the amount of funding and amount of this and the support that we need. Not at all. I think everybody, even if I ask in this room to everybody to chip even $1 dinar toward that campaign, I'm pretty sure we'll all give even more than that. So the money issue is not going to be the problem. It is working. Oh, and it's the organization and getting everybody on board with it. The timing, it might be the issue. Like we would be leaders in something or initiate something, but for other people to follow suit or to get involved, that is the challenge that we have. Some people are slow in approaching this or dealing with it, and that's what we need to light the fire underneath them and get them going. But otherwise, I'm pretty sure we are resilient. Kuwait is a resilient people, a resilient country, and I think once we put our heads into it, we can actually do it. Thank you.
Let me turn to the audience just to give it a different flavor. I'm sure lots of interest on this. I hope we'll have a couple of questions to the panelists. The panelists will decide to answer the question they feel they like to answer. So, yes, please. Yes. Where is this from? Yeah. Just let us your name and your question.
I'm Sulaiman Al-Sulaiman, computer engineer. My question is, at the end of the day, smart devices are bad for the children's health. It's bad for their eyes, back, neck. And if we pass all of that, we have cyber threats. So do you see not giving children smart devices is a solution or is a choice?
Well, my take on this is, do you not give an adult a car? It's like this. I mean, this is now a fact of life. We have those tools. We need to really work on having a system, an environment that is healthy, that is safe, that is secure in all aspects. I'll leave the answer to any panelist if you like to answer. Yes, please, Virginia.
I think this is an interesting question. So I think that we can try to build a castle around our kids and children, but it will at some point it will not work. So children have access. So if you don't give a smart device, for example, they will have access to other people's smart device. They will have access to computers at school or whatever, or with a friend, or with. So I think that capacity building for the children themselves to start thinking about thinking twice before, for example, sharing something online, and understanding how the technology works is crucial. So I think that they have to start be empowered with skills to be able to be secure citizens, so to think by themselves in terms of security and safety. So I think that we can try, and we try all the time, right, to protect the children and of course develop secure technology. This is our job, but we need to empower them to be in the world with smart devices around them and be as much protected as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other answer? Or we go and take a second question.
Thank you. My name is Raymond. I'm from Kuwait National Assembly, the cybersecurity team. What you guys are doing is truly amazing, keeping in mind the youngest of the generation. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and she's very much into gadgets. The question I have is to what you all said when it comes to contribution. Now, apart from funds, and which is of course very important, in this room alone, there are a lot of IT people. There are a lot of technical cybersecurity professionals. How can we contribute to this cause? Because when you say that you all are working hard and you need to put that fire into people, I think it's possible when we do it as a community. Whether we come from in the industry itself, how can we work with you all as an organization or as an individual? There's a lot we can put together on the table.
Well, I will just
Yeah,
inject
go ahead.
one idea. We
Yes,
can
please.
start to create an interest group. Maybe we'll coordinate it with CITRA. We can start an interest group that bring together stakeholders, parents, teachers, educators.
Yeah, in our case, the foundation is much easier to deal with and contact. As I said, we're not government entity, so we don't have a lot of red tapes at all. So we usually get in touch with people right away, and we follow up. And like the doctor said, we actually form groups, and we do contact people and seek their support and involvement. When we talk about, for example, doing coding and offering coding training for our children, we actually approach the companies to help us with that. And actually, I have spoken to a local company about designing cybersecurity training for high schoolers, and I got a proposal, and I'm in the process of reviewing it. So yes, you actually can contact me. We love to get you involved, and the more the merrier, because the more that we cover, the more people we can reach, the more kids that we can teach, the more parents that we can reach also, and the teachers. Then we can cover the majority of the community, and then we can reach our goal faster. So by all means, if you're interested, give me a call. I did put my information on board. If you didn't have a chance, talk to me after the panel, and I'll be glad to give you my information. Please get in touch with us. We would love to hear from you and get you involved with us. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. One question related to the main, what is your way of approaching the Ministry of Education? Is there any contact?
Yes, actually, through the directorate that I'm in, we have a very close tie to the Ministry of Education. We actually, during the Corona, they requested from us to equip 12 studios with cameras and recording equipments to tape the material so they can put it on their channel, on their YouTube channel for the kids, and make the lessons available online. So CAFOS actually did equip 12 studios for them during the Corona. I actually was the one involved in that. During the highlight of the Corona, actually, the ministry closed down for 2 weeks after that with the infection. But we actually have a very strong relationship with them. We had for years. We support the Olympiad of our kids that they go and participate in international competitions. We sponsor training for the students and the teachers. We have an agreement with one of the local private universities where workshops are held for the teachers from MOE, Ministry of Education, to actually teach them about or give them training on specific topics. And we actually sponsored a website where they can have their own forum to discuss matters and issues that concerns them. So we do have a very strong relationship relationship with the Ministry of Education, and so it will not be a problem for us to contact them and work with them on that.
Unfortunately, we don't have a panelist from the Ministry of Education. Otherwise, we would have a direct involvement, and they would. Yes. Let me take an answer or a question from Alanud, and then we'll go to the third question from the audience. Yes, Dr. Alanud.
Thank you, Dr. Lubna, because you've said a lot of things that I would want to respond to the question. With regards to stakeholders, we have various stakeholders in the governmental level. KFAS is doing a great job of funding programs and reaching out to schools in terms of early education and high school. What we're doing here is reaching out to government institutions in cooperation with CITRA. So we're trying to enhance our national cybersecurity strategy goals, is to have standards to what it means. And the stakeholders we're working with in terms of government entities and others, as foreign embassies or NATO, is quite big. And the universities in Kuwait, whether it's Kuwait University or the Kuwait College for Science and Technology or the American University of Kuwait, they're all interested in promoting cybersecurity and work with the public sector with enhancing capabilities at national level. Just to add on to what Dr. Radovna is saying. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take the third question from the... We'll take one more question. One last question. We started 5 minutes late, so...
Okay, I promise it's going to be a hopefully question. So when we're talking about cybersecurity in education, we often, the image that comes to mind is dark rooms, right? Computers, dark screens, black screens. So I'm wondering if there was... any highlights or let's say examples where we taught cybersecurity, but we did not necessarily use a computer or a smartphone. So have you come across, any educational program targeting young, children or what have you that does not conveys the types of messages that we want to convey, but without necessarily using technology? This is a weird question, but hopefully it wakes everybody up in the room. Thanks.
I think Dr. Sarah can talked about gamification, maybe a way of.
Actually, I am aware of one. We trialed something in a primary school where we didn't use computers. We got them to write on a piece of paper with a pencil a secret message and give it to a friend and then rub the message out so that the message had effectively been deleted. And then what we showed them was using a wax crayon that they could rub over the paper and get the message back. And then we compared that to how computers and digital devices work. So we found that was quite effective, and with the younger students, it was easier for them to get their heads around than actually working with the digital device.
Yeah, I think I also thought about role playing between
say.
parent and child, like trying to test, for example, whether they would give private data, whether about the password, for example, check their passwords, what would be a good password. There are things that can be done.
Sure.
Do you like to?
Yeah, actually, you have to deal with the different age groups according to what it will be the most effective way to reach them. And role playing is wonderful with the little ones. They get it right away, and so you don't need equipments or computer labs to do that. You just have to be creative on how to approach them, and they are so resilient in accepting it. But the key is how you introduce it to them. Okay, but role playing, like Dr. Sadek said, and absolutely is the easiest way to do that. And we actually have at KFOS presented a lot of the topics with respect to chemistry, for example, by having a mad scientist kind of guy stand in front of them and show them chemistry experiments, that they went wild with it. So yes, role playing, you can bring it to their level and they will understand it just like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we run out of time. Thank you, panelists, for your input to this. This is a very important topic. We cannot emphasize more. Thank you, audience, and we would like you to have a rest of the day with more talks, and we hope to keep those events happening, so we'll be on the top of things. Thank you very much.